about what else is available. Jungle, maybe taking away the duo itself. Maybe an early priority here for Xiaohu again, because you didn't pull enough bans. He didn't get banned enough, and the Taliyah is still open, which kicked ass in game 1.
Now for LNG, I mean, right, the Aphelios would be the obvious answer. And then if they want to keep it standard, going towards the Viego, denying that one and pushing Wei further down his pool. When that hasn't been opened, it feels like Wei has been leaning a lot on the Vi as of late. So that might be something coming through. It does have a 100% win rate for the side of RNG. Or, ooh, I was going to say, I wonder if they view it as, well, Tarzan himself had, you know, such a spectacular performance in that first few minutes of the game. If we just go back to what started working before it quickly didn't.
I loved his first 3 levels. I mean, that bot gank was ingenious, holding the charge for as long as he did too. Kind of excited to see Tarzan on it again, and hopefully this time around, with the Renata added into the mix, it's going to have a different feel. But Lyric, let's just quickly get junglers out. We know that Wei loves Viego. We know that in game 1, they banned Vi against him. Is this a Vi game for you, or are you like, nah, Poppy?
So they're gonna. Okay. Well, I don't have to answer. I mean, for LNG, right? When they're setting up for these comps with very like immobile backlines, where just having the set lockdown will be quite nice and guaranteeing you can burst out a target. Especially with the fact that we've hit on that, LNG have leaned into a lot of one-threat compositions of even putting Doinb on champions like Gragas. So I would expect LNG don't look to do that once again. We obviously saw in game 1 they didn't, right? They went towards the victor and at least did try to have like a nice mix in their damage pool. But still, RNG will have a way of targeting it. RNG are going the exact same direction they did in game 1.
Okay, well, nothing beats rinse and repeating when you did so well in that first game as well. Feels like now, as we look towards mid laners, Doinb going to get a couple of targets here, Lyric. Let's be real. In the first game, it was the same, and we know that Doinb is probably the standout player alongside Tarzan in this current roster. Things like the Swipe, the Corki I mentioned before. Anything else you want to bring up?
I don't think there's anything that stands out to me as too troublesome for Xiaohu to deal with that
okay.
Doinb plays. Because, right, I mean, obviously we've been seeing a lot of different, like, prio. And heck, I guess not even, because they banned out the Lissandra Nardi themselves. Those are the 2 picks that Doinb doesn't play, but are obviously very high prio in the meta. So it will just be the Corki. Now for RNG, you could just look into opting into your support matchup here. A lot already taken away that you would typically like to pair into the Kalista. We already saw the set earlier, but I think it could be quite hard to close that distance and gap for the Renata. Or you could just look to take away the Gnar and have like that safe blind and top side denied from Panda C and force him onto something, you know, that, like, who knows how he's going to perform.
I was going to ask you if, you know, maybe Ming goes back to something like the Leona here, right? Ming is historically a great Alistar, as we're seeing flexed around. That would be a bit of a throwback here to some of the older years, as Ashe gets locked in, and we have seen Ashe support once in the LPL, Lyric, with Hail of Blades.
Well, yeah, we're going to be getting this. I mean, Imperial Mandate, right? Spamming those hawk shots, having that ultimate available as much as possible. I am really curious to see how this goes, because this is not a pick I would think of Ming for.
Yep.
On the opposite side, though, Doinb does just go towards the Azir. This was a pick we kind of predicted in game 1 to potentially come out instead of the Victor, right? We've been seeing it a lot more in this meta, and again, just kind of having a fine time in that 1v1 in the laning phase, and Panda C going back towards that Gnar. What do RNG round this out with now is what I wonder, right? Because having a frontliner would be nice, so maybe even just go back towards the Sejuani. You know, give yourself another frontline, considering you now have this Ashe in the support role. But hovering the Gwen.
Okay, Breeze, one of Breeze's best champions. I mean, on WE, he's a top laner. It's he's had massive plays with this. So, Lyric, explain this comp. I want to apologize first because I got my Ashe wrong. I actually, you know, when I casted the PCS, I think about a week ago, I saw this with Halo Blade's bot, and I got really into it. You know, Clement Chu had to deal with me, who a bit of an Ashe support aficionado, if I dare say so myself. It's a lot of fun to watch, but I want you to tell me a little bit about what you see in this comp, because it is just so many different angles that we have to watch out for.
I mean, I feel like if we had to boil RNG's comp down to, like, an identity, right, it would just be a pick comp. I mean, you have the Enchanted Crystal Arrows able to come out. You have Weaver's Wall. You have Wei with his ulti. Like, you have a lot of ranged single-target lockdown, or I guess for the Weaver's Wall, just, like, way to make numbers advantage or way to corral people into a certain area. So definitely going to be looking for picks, going to be looking for those engages to come through. This game definitely signals playing towards the bottom side once again, especially once you have that Enchanted Crystal Arrow. And to where we move over to the side of LNG, they're keeping it a lot more 5v5, a lot more team fight. So we're going to see if RNG can keep picking them off one by one like they did last game, finding those numbers advantages, or if LNG can actually make it through the mid game for once. That has just been their biggest pain point. And now you have even more tools to worry about, because now it's not only a Weaver's Wall, but it's like, hey, now maybe RNG want to look to make plays either in mid or in top. You have an Enchanted Crystal Arrow that has to be on your mind.
I mean, when you hit that level 6 Lyric, and I know with Imperial Mandate and Ionian Boots of Lucidity, if he goes for the Comet build, you are getting a 47-second arrow at something like 35, 45 ability haste. It's pretty insane. And I was going to say to you, does Gala throw him in? I mean, does Gala, or is it the Fate's call to make sure you shove him back so he can keep poking?
100%. I mean, come on. If Gala throws him in, we got to assume there's probably some trouble in paradise. But who knows? Maybe there's an angle where he's full HP, the enemy bot lane's low HP, you throw him in to finally engage after the... I don't know. We're going to see it. This is a fun one coming out from the side of RNG. LNG keeping it standard. Panda C's second game in the LPL. I think a lot of fun things going on in this game. And I just hope that LNG can pull it together.
Ooh, it's Halo Blades, though. I saw this in the PCS, and... we saw, a bit of AD on the laning Ashe, but still the same build there, Lyric. Good early trades with the 3 proc, and I'm going to be excited to watch this one out, because those 80 carries hitting level 2 first, that's what I want to see. Is Panda C is just hovering around mid in our entrance towards this game. Not going to think much of it for now, but at the very least, Lyric, let's just get ready to watch bot, I would say, and then maybe you can talk a little bit about jungle pathing and how it influences.
I do want to highlight Halo Blades, because not only that, but just the tree in general for Ashe support's very good, because it lets you opt into both Cheap Shot, which has obviously been phenomenal in Ashe, with how much you're spamming your volley, and Ultimate Hunter.
Oh yeah, that's a very good point, and we'll see it as he hits level 6, but for now the invade begins. Now Lumao with his angle might have a handshake start, and he does. Onto the jungler, back to his team. Ignite down for Wei, tries the Vault Breaker out of there, but has to burn the flash. Panda TPs because he wanted to be part of the play, but RNG going back for round 2. They just lost jungle flash. Ming is stepping forward with the slow. That passive annoying as Gala chases up, and Lumao has flash with the handshake, gets him out, holds onto the summoner crucially, and Tarzan starts jungle with a bit of a lead.
Yeah, exactly. They do at least find a bit of a lead in the jungle with the fact that Tarzan able to clear out those Raptors. RNG, I mean, they did force out the TP from the side of LNG, and even got Ignite. So for RNG, you trade a flash for 2 summoners on the opposite side. You are a little bit behind in jungle, but yeah, I mean, very, very interesting level 1 coming out with the interesting drafts. Both junglers making their way up towards the top side so far. Kind of hit on for RNG. You expect it to be a very bot-centric game, right?
Oh, hang on. Lyric, need to pause. It is a Mega Gnar here, but Breathe has the snip, the true damage. Couple more autos. He goes in Mega Gnar. Panda C, as his debut in the LPL, wants to take it with one of the growing legends, but Breathe with a good dodge, and Panda C surviving for now, Lyric. Where did you want to go before we were rudely interrupted by a dinosaur and a seamstress?
I don't know. I don't know if he could go anywhere else, because Breed's still angling, and Xiaohu already going to make his way up this early on. Looks like he was able to get a decent bit of the wave down, now in a neutral state in mid, so shouldn't lose too much, and already coming for a dive.
I mean, this level 3 gank, a genius. Seismic shove, though, warded out. Panda on top of the plays, the minion wave.
This is so risky, though, right? Because you think...
It's so far away.
I mean, Breathe already half HP. Xiaohu shouldn't take too many turret shots to bring him down. Yeah. The threat was enough. Oh, Xiaohu.
He's trapped. He's trapped. He doesn't want to be here. Xiaohu with a flash available, but he won't get time to burn it. Doinb TP's up and gets first blood, Lyric. That was a disaster.
That was very overambitious coming from RG. Like, I mean, had the wave maybe already been crashing into turret when he was looking for the roam, or, Breathe have a bit more HP, like, whatever it is, I could see it, but that was a risky angle. RNG were willing to try to play for it. They give over an advantage to the side of LNG. And, heck, even their bot lane just having a solid performance so far.
Well, the bot lane set up for success. Top lane burning the TP here from Breathe as he comes back, and Wei, Xiaohu, I mean, they've got a bit of a rough start ahead of them, Lyric. Wei might be catching up in camps, but now Xiaohu with death, giving over to Doinb. You talked about the team fighting part of LNG's composition, and we know that they just have to kind of get there, which, once again, in the early game, is so far successful.
Oh, and LNG's early game successful, but RNG not even wanting to slow down, getting a bit of vision. But for LNG, I mean, the fact that their lanes are stable right now is pretty good. especially their bot lane, being able to find Prio and find an advantage. We did see they were able to get to lane first because RNG's bot lane did have to leash for Wei, considering he went to his camp late. But I'm really curious to see how this bot lane goes, right? Because Kalista, very much an all-in champion. Ashe support, like, you do have the Hail Blades, right? You can take some strong trades, but I think much more of you like kind of sitting back, spamming those volleys, whittling people down. So
Yep.
I think it'll be very interesting to see how these trade patterns go pre-6. We can already see RNG not slowing down at all, Wei wanting to look for these aggressive invades on Tarzan.
That's what I love about RNG. They always double down, you know? It's always going to, oh, well, it didn't work the first time, let's try again. The aggression continues, and while you're talking there, Lyric, I just noticed Ming, as you said, you know, helped with the leash there, but he got bullied out of lane once again, had to back, has only now just hit level 3. And so far for RNG, this bottom lane not doing too much as the wave's pushing against them. And look at where Tarzan's going, sir. I mean, he knows that this is the lane to be.
He knows that this is, I mean, you have, right, like, double range squishy champions in this lane. So you have very self-sufficient, you know, like, pseudo tanks up in the top side. So I like Tarzan's kind of read of what he should be looking for. RNG at least do have a lot of good vision control around the bottom half of the map. You need to remember, one of the great benefits of having Ashe on the Rift is the hawk shot able to come through. So if you can continuously spot out where Tarzan is, that'll not only give their lane a lot of safety, but just RNG overall a ton of value.
I mean, that vision nets the start of the Dragon here, even with the lane pushing out. Now, Tarzan will spot this out if he drops the ward over the wall, but as he climbs all the way up, now only sees Wei. Dragon helps out, he smites for the health, and Wei will have to back off. Xiaohu moving down as well, Lyric. He has the Weaver's Wall to get in here, but as Ming slows down, RNG trying to make a decision on top of the Dragon. It's building up as Doinb now has himself the slide and glide on the two-man. Flashes in! Doinb hand delivers to the rest of LNG.
Doinb saw the opportunity and he grasped it going in. Great Emperor's Divide coming through. LNG, I mean, now having 3 kills, they pick up the Dragon. We hit on a game 1 being a nice start for LNG. That was just a few kills. This is some nice kills coming through and an objective on the board.
Beautiful stuff from the man that, yeah, has been one of the strongest in LNG, but still was criticizing his play at the start of our series here. Lyric, he doesn't even have ult, and he wants to go to another lane.
Yeah, Panda C trying to set it up with the fact that he's about to turn Mega. Missed. Doesn't connect.
Doinb under turret. Hang on a minute, Doinb. 2 shots taken. Wei now spotted out as well. Breathe with the ulti, not available, so Doinb will live to see another day as they continue pushing out.
Yeah, we saw Panda C wasn't able to connect the W to hit the stun, and now...
No, he's flashed on. The Weaver's Wall available too. Watch this. As Panda C hops over, in comes Xiaohu.
Oh!
But he's a little bit shallow here. As we start threading the volleys, Panda wants to survive, but Doinb is his knight in shining armor. Right on top of another rock as Xiaohu finally gets a kill, but he's in range of Doinb's soldiers. Another one about to come out as searing over. Tarzan now spotted the hammer shock. Down it goes, the W, countering Wei. Again, this mid-jungle of LNG are in control, and we get to see them flourish once more.
LNG are doing a great job of capitalizing on the mistakes coming out from RNG. Xiaohu, once again, we hit on this as the most pivotal man on the side of RNG, now sitting at 1 and 3. On the opposite side, Doinb finding similar levels of impact with the roams, but really opening up for his jungler. 4 and 0 on this Poppy. You can see him starting Rift Herald right now. Panda C TPing to mid to push this way.
Yeah, he's going to get Assault and Battery, the Vault Breaker, and I think the only thing that broke there was Panda's timing. Lyric, bit of a mistake from the newbie joining LNG.
Yeah, the idea was, since Doinb still, like, in top and the wave needs to be pushed in, he pushes in top, you TP Panda C into mid, so Tarzan can start up Herald. You have Prio in both lanes. Theoretically, RNG do need to show on those waves and, like, answer them right, so...
Here we go.
I get the idea of what LNG were looking for, but...
Lyric, I don't like it. Here's Tarzan again. Peekaboo, Xiaohu, would you like to die today? The answer will be yes. That handshake sets up for the heroic charge. And Tarzan is blowing my mind with these early games.
Tarzan in the last few games he's played has been a man on an absolute mission. And that mission doesn't end here. Hysterics, that mission... Okay, actually, that mission does end here. I'm sorry.
It does. He's not Jason Bourne yet. 5-0-1, 100% kill participation, though. Lyric, the early game this time, I think is more successful.
And look at the minimap. Panda C is actually starting up the Rift Herald right now, so LNG already prepping that objective for the fact that Tarzan and Luma are moving over.
Okay, well, an ulti here would be good here from Panda, but as Breeze snips him down, it's not going to be the setup for Tarzan. Way still in the general vicinity. As Lyric, we get a moment to take stats on the game, right? A Dragon goes down. I already said 2K before for LNG's the lead. Another one coming up in a minute 45. And I wanted to get your feeling, your grasp on this game that is kind of moving very fast before we blow up again.
I mean, I think LNG are just in a great position, right? Because we hit on RNG being more of a pick comp. I think it's easier to set up these picks in, like, early mid-game when these tools are coming online, when, like, people are kind of locked in their lanes, and you can try and generate this, like, ability in mid to move before Doinb is able to answer. When it goes later, it's a lot up to LNG's mistakes for RNG to find avenues in. Okay. Because, right, it's going to be a lot more about grouping up around neutrals like Dragon, around Baron, and it just, if people overstep on sides when pushing out waves, that RNG will have an easy time at finding what they're looking for.
Oh, but Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes through. We've been waiting for this Panda walking back, but no. He will be in the right place at the right time, and the arrow swings and misses. As, well, still for the gank, but Way, now that he's spotted out, look at Tarzan, he's rearing to go. Especially
now that he's the Frostfire Gauntlet. I mean, we have Doinb now with Loon's Echo as well, on top of the stopwatch. So if he's the one to go in and look for a play, since you don't have a ton of engage on your side, so theoretically he probably does, he now has that safety tool available. So I think LNG getting pretty solid item spikes where they feel comfortable looking for this objective.
And Lyric, in terms of windows, I think right now with 30 seconds on the Dragon, LNG have picked the Herald, now have themselves a path to head towards bottom lane, considering that Ming's top side wanted to pick the play. Way's here as well will make the reset, but 15 seconds till Dragon, and LNG have the map firmly under their control.
Oh, Tarzan. Tarzan has something against Xiaohu, man, because he just keeps looking for him.
He's going to take two Xiaohu.
What'd you do?
He heard him. 1-4-1, by the way. We just talked his champion up last game. This time around, still not without his first item. And as you said, LNG discrepancies there as Doinb gets hit with an arrow. Way's there with a flash. Oh. Ming! What a beauty! Going flying at the last hurrah, but it is Way who picks up the hurrah over Doinb this time.
It was a great arrow, but in my mind, the more impressive thing was just how ready they were to pull the trigger. You know, we see Way flashing in, going in immediately, straight up Xiaohu running over to get the seismic shove. Like, they were so decisive when they saw the possibility was there.
It was just so well aimed as well. That's what we talked about RNG. It all came together for them at the mid-game, and we're only at 12 minutes in. We're not even at the mid-game, Lyric.
We did see Xiaohu hit on that they've been trying some new drafts and new picks and bans, and I guess this is one of the things they had up their sleeves.
I feel like for RNG, you know, seeing the diversity here today, Lyric, seeing how they come back from a deficit as well is something to notice. Tarzan's down the bottom side. We have to pay attention to this because Lyric, he has Herald, and right now for RNG, they're making a play on the opposite side.
Yeah, RNG going to look to use Way to abuse Panda. They do have Weaver's Wall up.
Arrow flashed. Lumao, great hands. As I feel like we're saying that a lot today, but Panda, with the flash available, the Vault Breaker down, the seismic shove, that again was great CC layered from RNG.
So we're once again just hitting that point where RNG have a lot of tools to be able to make plays on the map. We're gonna go into the replay of we're gonna get the cinematic setup of the arrow, just great aim, and then here going in, flashing as well to just try and close that distance faster, get the immediate CC his way.
Dude, our space theme today on point here as we come back to live. Herald gets mid lane turret as well, Lyric. So at the very least, with RNG finding a couple of good plays, let's be real. LNG, who you said have such a good team fight, are still set up for success in this game. They're 3,000 gold ahead, and now that mid's down as well, the map just feels a little bit more open.
And that's a great way of putting it, because RNG want to play the map. RNG want the map big. RNG want to play the map wide, right? Like, they want people spread out. They want to be able to use their tools, their long-range, engage tools, to be able to lock people down and pick them off with numbers. For LNG, you want the map small. You want the point where Baron and Dragon are up. You're able to group up as 5. You don't care if, maybe Breed's pushing it aside. You could just go and force RNG into you, because you have great range coming out with this Azir. And, I mean, RNG cannot walk into Renata, Poppy, Azir, Aphelios. All of those champions absolutely love that. The harder thing would be them trying to set up plays of their own, as Way really playing with fire.
He is. He's got Xiaohu behind him, but Doinb behind Tarzan in the same vein. Dragon's not up and available, so it's not like we're playing that for now, as Xiaohu will be able to pick himself up the blue buff on the corner of our screen. Ming setting up an arrow. It's so long off cooldown here as Doinb gets hit. Lumao, unfortunately, not able to communicate as the Vault Breaker covered through, but Wei knows that Tarzan's there too. So, Lyric, this is what I'm talking about, by the way. We haven't had a chance to talk about Ming's Ashe. This game, even with the Halo Blade, still going to be the Imperial Mandate. He doesn't have that ability haste from the first completed item yet, but look at the cooldown on that arrow already.
Oh, it's super short. I mean, yeah, this champion can be pretty obnoxious in terms of, again, just how frequently your cooldowns do come up. And we saw, I mean, the stun on the arrow could be pretty long. It is based off of distance traveled, but RNG's bot lane might be being punished right now. Yeah, I mean, Ming might need it now, but having said that, LNG committing 4. Don't make the dive happen. On the other side of the map, Wei is doing his own response once again as Panda C's getting forced out, and at least Light will make the trade himself, getting himself the second turret of the game. Oh, and Xiaohu now having to blow the flash.
Doinb having his own, but not burning it either. So Panda with good timing and good sync up. We will say, Lyric, that, or I mean, at least I will say, you don't have to agree with me, but LNG do look a little bit more coordinated than I feel like what we've seen in past weeks.
I feel like one thing we could say, and right, super small sample size, going up against RNG, like you're not facing the Shy or anything like that in top lane, but it definitely looks like Fantasy bringing some stability to where Ala felt like he really was struggling quite heavily, which is, again, is just sad thinking back to those DMO days of Natural when he was just so exciting to watch and thinking about the prospects come over the years. But yeah, LNG, I mean, especially this game, right? And all of it was off the back of punishing early mistakes coming out from RNG, punishing the not even over-aggression, it was like attempted aggression, right? It was Xiaohu leaning up towards that top lane to look for it. But we've Herald coming up now. Both teams already making their way over. Heck, LNG are already here. Great by Light to not get hit, because this is where LNG want to be, right? LNG want to be on objective first, getting their vision set up, because then it becomes very hard for RNG to walk in. The silver lining is at least they have the hawk shot, even if they don't have control of an area, so they can like spot who is there.
I was going to say RNG, the response in hawk shot is a great point you raised, Lyric, but I also wanted to pull out that Panda C is about to go into Mega Gnar. 15 seconds off the objective. RNG getting set up now, but Panda concerns me here, even without his first item in the setup that you enabled by talking about LNG.
I'm surprised LNG not wanting to go for the trade, wanting to contest this Drake and not give RNG any avenues is Tarzan. He's looking for a flank, and you know who's on that flank? Xiaohu.
His wall comes through, though. The flash from Tarzan into the wall. Xiaohu is blown up, but as he goes golden, he buys a bit of time. But as he comes out, Tarzan's still waiting with a hammer shock in the auto. Good ult from Doinb as Panda gets into the back line, but can't get anything done. The poppy ult, beautiful too from Tarzan. LNG have numbers as Ming is saved by the ultimate from Gala. As from the flank, this could be huge. Wei's coming in. Dragon's taken, but hang on. Wei's on a bit of a mission. Takes down Doinb. The bailout saves him, but he's over the wall. Can't get the reset. Goes golden as breathes, buys a bit of time. Wei wants to re-engage, but Gala
was so close.
Gets the kill. He's so lucky to be alive, Lyric. Dragon goes down, but we had fun watching it.
We did. Doinb, if Doinb could have finished off Wei, right, and not gone down, that would have been close. I do got to say, for LNG, it looked like a little bit of, I don't want to say miscoordination, but like when you're hitting a Gnar ultimate, stunning 2 people down, and then immediately Poppy ulted them away, that seems like a little bit redundant. But we will go right into the fight here, because Tarzan, we said he wants Xiaohu. He goes in. Light is going to hit Moonlight Vigil, which is where a lot of this damage is going to be able to come from. Tarzan as well, just doing a huge amount of damage at this point in time. So it's 1 kill down, and then Panda tries to find the engage. 2 flashes out for RNG, so I guess he didn't even lock them down, just Tarzan ulting them away, and then Wei gets behind and is going to find this angle onto the members of LNG once the arrow comes through. They zone in on Doinb, and sadly, they aren't able to finish a member off to try to keep him alive. It is so close. Both Breathe and Wei. I mean, you could tickle them and they'll go down.
Oh, that's
you could tickle them.
I mean, Wei, if he goes down as well, the bailout comes out for Doinb. So it just feels like this game kind of bordering right now. As LNG dodging away from yet another arrow, they're getting worse as the Band of Glass Mirror has been picked up, but against wall, Gala has to cleanse, been knocked up in the air, and Light's got his number. Gale forcing forward. Gala's down, ladies and gentlemen, as Doinb looks for the Emperor's Divide, but RNG, they're going to subside for now, Lyric, and there's no Baron available, but it's still a great pick.
I mean, and still Baron in 30 seconds, so you're going to get topside control, and I just got to say, Man, I have been missing this Tarzan. Holy cow, Tarzan has seriously just been so insane in this game. Setting up all these picks, setting up all these plays by himself.
Lyric, I said series, because game one was the same deal, right? Like, LNG ran out of options, but Tarzan started it off in a similar way. However, this time, now that he's picked up Warmog's armor, he's still at 100% kill participation. LNG haven't fallen off this early game, and I am so glad to see an LNG that are coming together. I hope I don't jinx it. I hope I don't throw it down the rubbish chute, because at least for LNG, when Orcs has been molding. People have been molded. People have been losing hair across the state. It is weighing down nations at the moment with how much LNG is frustrating people. At least we get to see this team coming out of the shadows at 5-4 and hopefully staying that way when playoffs is 4 weeks away.
And you can see them, they understand their win con, right? Like, they're staying grouped up as 4 to where RNG, you can see Wei being cheeky, waiting in the enemy jungle. He's trying to look for picks. So we're seeing that dichotomy come through now. You did hit on the Warmogs. I believe it's the first, is all pause? Panda
might be caught out here. The Vault Breaker going to be used. Assault and Battery. You've been laid down with charges, and Panda pleads guilty. It's Breathe with the kill here, punishing the side lane. Well, Lyric. Baron, you said it.
Yeah, LNG just going to start this one up because, hey, Breathe might have TP, but Wei has to run across the map to look for this.
Keep his verdict out of range.
Yeah, channeling. I feel like channeling a little bit too preemptively.
Ming ulti. No, Smite comes through, even past the stun. Tarzan is fine, but he might sacrifice his own life. RNG now knocked into a wall, but it matters not. A shutdown onto Tarzan for Gala, while RNG lose Baron, but 3 go to LNG.
Baron definitely going to be nice for RNG. The shutdown, though, is a really nice consolation prize, especially now they could use this Herald to start taking down some of these turrets. But guess what? There's an Azir. He's going to clearly just fine, especially with the Baron buff coming online. So LNG being super hands-on with that response. The second they see Wei bot side, they know Baron's the call.
Okay, we are having a space day. I don't know where Shelly teleported to, but it's about 10 paces forward in a blink of an eye. LNG with the Baron, as you said, going to be able to do a lot here with the wave clear. But I want to point out the gold lead has slimmed down a little bit. And we do have Dragon in 45 seconds. And I want your take as to what RNG can do, but more so if LNG can keep fending it off like they have with the past couple of Dragons.
For RNG, right, you need to hone in on one member. I feel like if one member walks even slightly too far forward, you at least have the tools.
Oh no, Doinb doing dead at this point. Breathe again. Lyric, he's got 2 kills now all of a sudden, and that's the second time one of LNG's solo laners has been caught out.
Oh, and that might have been Ming to set it up again, yeah, because Ming, I mean, again, you see it on that cooldown, you're like, that happened like 40 seconds ago with Ashe. No, that happened like, 10 seconds ago coming through. LNG at least going to be able to answer some of these turrets, and it looks like they're not even going to opt into the Dragon fight. They know, hey, we still have Baron, which means we still have pushing power, right? So anytime we waste in front of this Dragon means we're not trying to extend our gold lead as Breathe now locked down.
Yeah, as Ignite comes through, I mean, they should be able to kill him here, but 3 members there at the cost of the Dragon. Breathe dead, like getting the massive shutdown. And Lyric, they have Baron, remember, so this trade going to be massive for pushing power.
100%. LNG, I don't think they care that second Dragon goes down on the side of RNG. Especially the longer this game goes, they just feel more and more confident about their ability to take fights coming through. So the fact that they're just looking to extend their gold lead and extend their pressure on the map, to me, feels like the right decision coming through for LNG and already rotating straight towards this mid lane where Panda has a wave prepped and rearing to go.
Nice. 0-5 Gnar, I mean, still has had some kind of impact this series, I'll say. He's been bullied a little bit, so you got to give him a break considering
he has been targeted.
His first LPL series,
Yeah, has been targeted, but like you said, as a rookie coming in, like, has been fine, has been stable, as we're going to see here. We're just going to get a montage of Ming's arrows. Would have been nice if it was like a montage into what's looking like a win, but so far, beautiful setup to come through. Breathe, waiting over the wall, ready to follow it up. But yeah, you're going to need a lot more of those for RNG to be able to take this one. Doinb now having the Banshees, like we have second item on light, like a lot of these we're getting very close to these big power spikes coming through for the side of LNG.
And it's worth mentioning those items coming through. Like the Imperial Mandate's been there for a while, and you know what I said at the start, Lyric? 47 seconds is a cooldown. Now this is in the replay. We saw another arrow. I don't feel like we can keep throwing all of Ming's arrows out because even though it's nicely dodged, it's going to be one every 47 seconds, as I pointed out before. But at the very least, Ming, part of that tool we talked about for the picks. And Lyric, at the very least, we're going to see those, as I just said, coming off a cooldown, especially as he gets towards his mirror mana, which will give him more ability haste as well. I wanted to ask you a little bit about setup over the next couple of minutes here. We know side laning for Breathe is going to explode as he gets towards his Nash's Tooth as well, but how the pick potential can be exemplified here from RNG, despite the tools that are coming in for LNG, like Zhonya's, like Banshees, right, that can negate it. Lyric, hold the thought. Maybe you have to hold it, maybe you don't, maybe it's just shown here. Panda's Ego and Mega Gnar, but he's dead. And there you go, mid-jungle. Was that what you were going to say?
Well, I was going to say, luckily, I don't need to answer because, like, you're asking about, like, how can RNG take fights? In my mind, it's not about taking fights. It's about using these windows, using the windows between neutral objectives to find picks, to find your advantages when LNG will be split up on the map. As Tarzan, he's actually going to go. He doesn't care.
Keeper's verdict is there. He takes no damage. Seismic shove good, but Doinb's over the wall. The slide and glide, and Xiaohu is dead once again. 2 and 6 here. Lyric, he's getting punished hard this game.
He really is. And right, when you think about it, when Xiaohu is one of the big leading voices on the team and he's being shut down, that could make it harder for RNG to be able to play out the game. Hasn't so far. Like, they've been on point, even despite being set behind, about knowing what they need to look for to win. But LNG still just ramping up. Especially with Tarzan being so huge. I was going to say I found it weird that he went for the Warmogs earlier on, right? Because I don't know how much time he's going to be, like, getting poked out and then using that regen to stay on the map and maybe continue posturing or making more plays. Feels like maybe just going towards the standard items of, like, Force of Nature or Deadman's might have been better. But, you know, Tarzan has been having a pop-off game. He's making his way, it looks like, towards that Force of Nature right now.
Still 100% kill participation as well, Lyric.
Yeah, he's like, seriously, we just can't praise him enough. And ultimately, what all this is doing, right, is just buying more time for Light to get big. He now has a bounty, and heck, he actually has his Infinity Edge now. So, big 3 crit items on the board for Light.
I mean, Gala's walking right the way away from him. They're equal on items at this point. You know you love the Aphelios more as Tarzan taking next to no damage from Xiaohu here. As he gets shoved back, that Warmogs will come in handy. And Lyric, you know what else will come in handy? Vision around the Baron as LNG right now have controls. Doinb wants way. The Vault Breaker doesn't make the distance. He flashes away. Really nice selection here from LNG. And now the jungler's out of there. LNG are like, right, 5 seconds. Let's walk and threaten.
Doinb just does so much damage at this point in time as well. We just saw what he was able to do there. And now going to go straight towards that Baron, seeing Breathe on bottom wave. So might have to utilize that TP to be able to get in the fight, and they're going to go straight for it.
All right, well, with the TP coming in, the Weaver's Wall as well is a great placement. Pandacy on the outside, he doesn't have Mega Gnar. 4K, 3K, they want to flip this in. The Baron Pit, Way dunks him, but the smite still comes through from the King of the Jungle as he gets Way against the wall and sends Breathe upward. RNG on the return as Doinb is flipping it right now. Royal never give up on the retreat, and this LNG, Lyric, where have they been?
This is an LNG you can be excited for, you can root for. Great game coming through. Gonna turn this into Soul Point as well. And I mean, at this point in time, right, there have been ways for RNG to exploit, but I feel like with the state of the game, with the drafts we have, it should be so hard to take down LNG.
This is a game you can be proud of with now about a 7K gold lead, or maybe 6 here, but shortly that'll blow up too, with bottom side turret exposed and top wave being prepped to Lyric. Third Dragon was just picked up as well. And LNG during that Baron fight, coming clutch once again.
They were close, but I mean, right, I feel like all you're really banking on is the smite steal. Like, I don't see a way where they are able to take this fight, as we see Light throwing out a Moonlight Vigil onto numerous members. Smite steal comes out, and then, like, you're kind of left in this awkward place. But still, the other 3 members of RNG can't actually approach LNG in the pit to be able to do it. Beautiful Emperor's Divide coming out from Doinb to be able to force the action. And looks like they're going to find even more picks coming through. Let's remember that for them to find engages, right, it's either Gnar ultimate coming through or Doinb being the one to set it up. And it's consistently been Doinb finding the engages in team fights. Tarzan has been the one setting up engages in picks, but the squad really just coming together and not having as much volatility as we'd expect. Again, RNG did a good job of, like, finding picks so far, but it is just not enough, especially with the siege coming through from this Azir.
Look at the damage. I mean, just look at the damage going into this front line. Breathe can't do anything at this point as well. Ming
and
next to nothing. apart from the arrow, and yeah, Doinb whacking away at the turret. A game 3 looking like it's on the horizon in here. And after game 1, you wouldn't really expect it, but LNG have ignited. And I'm not talking about the world song that's my least favorite. I'm talking about LNG in this game stepping up. Maybe I should have quoted Rise instead, Lyric, which is just the bomb. We've got an 8K gold lead. The base is broken. And LNG, yes, are indeed rising to the occasion.
Look, and as we stop talking about League songs, I will say, in my opinion, my controversial opinion, Giants is by far the best one.
It's not a world song, though.
I know. I don't like any of the world songs, but point is...
well, you're not invited to sing it with me this year. I was going to announce, right?
I love all the world songs. All the world songs are great.
Well, go for this.
Wait. So coming into whatever... Oh, we're looking at the pick underway. Okay. Sorry. You threw me off talking about songs for no reason. As a way. It's going to be picked... We don't even get to see it. You set me up for nothing.
Dude, that's not my fault. Talk to the observers.
It's your fault.
I just work here. You know, I'm like the janitor. I just kind of call the action as it plays out and mop the floors. LNG are doing that too.
True. LNG are definitely mopping the floor with RNG right now, and they're the ones calling the plays with what's happening. Is my God, that was just the Moonlight Vigil. That damage coming in hot, and the arrow doesn't even matter. RNG, look at the supers pushing through top. They're gonna have a wave coming in mid in like another 10-15 seconds as well. This feels like this is where the game ends for RNG.
And starts for LNG in the series. A game 3 for this team would mean so much when they're on a 2-loss streak, and to potentially find the series win against RNG would be a statement of return here for LNG. Looking to make their way up to 6 wins. Both the teams trying to do that as the AoE right now hurts, and with all 3 inhibitors down, minions are channeling in Panda. About to go to Gnar, his debut in the LPL, and he's got Flash available. This is where the highlight reel comes in as he flashes, gets a one-man, and dies. Maybe anticlimactic here as Renata ult does the same, but Light with the bailout can clean up the rest of this. But Breathe starts tipping away, goes golden. Doinb is low as well. Hang on a minute. With the seismic shove, Doinb jumps on in and avoids it. Wei returns, dunks Doinb, but now he dies too. With Light being the carry once again for LNG, we go the distance. And LNG ain't taking no chill pill today.
LNG looking so much better this game. I mean, great work from Tarzan in the early game. In the 5v5s, it was able to come online. It was a rough performance from Panda C, as you know, we can kind of see him acknowledging, but I still feel like LNG as a team just looked like much more like a unit this game, right? Playing as a team, being on the same page, grouping up as 5, knowing what they needed to do. And it was phenomenal to see, because in my mind, LPL is much more exciting when teams like LNG, when teams like BLG, when these teams that do have these like star-studded rosters are performing, especially when you do have like teams like AL and, you know, some of our unexpected teams playing as well. But LNG this game definitely did deliver, punishing RNG, right? Because LNG played this game well to bring it to the finish line, but this gold lead did amass from RNG's mistakes, right? Xiaohu started 0-3 in this game just from trying to hover topside looking for these picks, but beautifully Doinb was there every time. Tarzan there as well, just catching Xiaohu out in transition and making sure that RNG couldn't find the plays they were looking for. And right, RNG's draft needed the lead. RNG once again went towards this like greedy draft of where you're looking for picks, you're looking to accelerate the early game. You now have an Ashe on top of it as well, which is like even more so like trying to accelerate the pace of the game. And if they weren't able to do that, game was going to be LNG's all the way.
I mean, the thing I want to focus on, Lyric, though, is even though Panda C didn't have a great time on this Gnar, I just wonder if this is the difference in terms of team dynamic, in terms of team communication. So far, this LNG in the series, despite game number 1, have been a lot more conjoined, and I truly wonder where we're going with the rest of this series, considering that Tarzan 2 games in a row has had insane poppy mechanics, just an insane poppy performance, and has been pivotal, as you expect, of what was one of the best junglers in the league and what really got them to Worlds in 2021 as well.
You had made a great point on last hit that you know played before the LPL today and will probably come out tomorrow, was that like even in spring, Tarzan's like first 50 to 75% of the split was good. It was only right before playoffs where it really felt like Tarzan like took like a big hit in terms of like his level of play, and then followed it through in playoffs and coming into this split as well. it was very surprising to see, and it seems like maybe could be, frustration with how the team is doing, but once again, recent series, Tarzan really has just been showing up and he was the one who teed this up for LNG, and it seems like Doinb was the one to be able to deliver and drive it home, but
Yep.
I mean, I would not be surprised if, heck, I don't know. I don't know who you MVP this one, because I think
Has
both
to be
players are
Tarzan.
very deserving for it. I
Yeah.
think so too. I think it will be Tarzan, but my God, it wasn't the way you expected this duo to work in terms of early game roaming, intense jungle pressure around Tarzan. It was no, Tarzan carried early, and then Doinb was the big damage dude in the late game. It was great.
But both times we've seen Tarzan get this team off the ground. So
Yes.
not only deserving of, an SVP in game number 1, but now with game 3 on the horizon, LNG have been brought by this man, and I don't know, I want to say teamwork. That's something I haven't said much about LNG this split. I have casted a little bit of LNG, but never this warm feeling inside my heart. Lyric, a game 3 between RNG and LNG